Today, we're going over the recent e-flite Commander MPD and revisiting it. Let's see how well it performs in strong winds.
What's going on, YouTube? We are back with the e-flite Commander MPD on a really crappy windy day. And we are gonna take this thing on a ride for your benefit. I don't think many people have flown this thing in crazy wind shear and gusts, so let's see how well this thing actually performs. That's a big storm. I'm glad that thing's missing us, but it's bringing the wind.
Throttle open.
Somebody wants to tell me wind shear ain't real. Look at the difference between those trees in the front and the trees in the back, and you'll see what we're talking about. All right, let's get her up.
Flaps 50.
Flaps out.
Flaps up.
A couple raindrops, not a big deal. Wow, she's getting some airspeed. Look how fast she's going. That's half throttle. All right, let's try a level straight pass, low throttle settings, see if we can just get it to slow down or potentially even fly backwards. I'm half throttle on this wind. We are going maybe 20 miles an hour up there.
30 seconds.
Oh, that's crazy. A lot of shear. You can see the plane going up and down about 5 to 10 feet at a time. The incoming wind really helps with some of those snaps too. It still does it in this wind, so it's a pretty locked in plane, I'd say. Let's try a knife edge pass in this wind.
1 minute.
Getting a little daring. All it's going to take is one random gust of wind downdraft to knock it straight down. But it looks like it clears up right after that storm goes by.
So far, so good, but what happens when the wind gusts to a point where the plane almost flies backward?
Throttle up, getting into about a 30 to 40 mile an hour wind gust right now, maybe a little bit more. Let me turn my body away from the wind so you guys can hear what I'm saying. Golly, that's a crazy bit of wind. Let's put the flaps out, see what it does. Oh yeah. I might be able to get it to slow down enough to pick it up out of the sky. We are almost flying backwards right now. It's like a kite. Holy crap. Okay, cutting out. Feel sorry whoever's on that airliner up there right now. That's a cetacean jet. Yeah, man, this thing is crazy.
The verdict is that it flies pretty great in the wind. Aside from wind shear and turbulence, the model looks like it's flying on any normal day, just that it's barely moving forward at all. Let's see what else we can do with this kind of headwind.
Here we go. I'm turning with it. Sorry about the wind noise. All right, here we go. Ridiculous. Let's do rolling Harriers and not go anywhere.
For those of you who wanted a better rolling Harrier tutorial, this is what you came here for. The Commander doesn't do them perfectly, but it does do them.
All right.
Begin by entering with down elevator, holding left aileron throughout the maneuver. As the plane rolls sideways to the left, add right rudder. As it rolls inverted, add down elevator. As it rolls sideways, add left rudder, and then finally add up elevator as it levels out. Each time you add rudder, burst the throttle. Throttle movement should look like a V shape if you were to trace your stick movement.
All right. Okay, we got to get her down quick. A little bit of rain coming in. All right, What's going on, YouTube? We're back with the e-flite Commander. The wind is kind of died down, so it's going to be interesting to fly it again. Without all that crazy wind, it won't be a kite anymore. Oh, get away from Tony. There we go. This plane has a weird tendency to want to, what is it? It has more torque roll than it should for its size. Or not torque roll, but P factor. So it's a good model. This is actually one of the better props that Horizon's come out with. This and the Cirrus and the Turbo Timber in my top 3 for sure. You're not gonna find a whole lot of models that can do what this thing can. It's just missing performance. So it's one of the reasons why we put the 60 amp ESC into it.
1 minute.
To kind of unlock a little bit in case the motor draws more, and then open up the opportunity to put in more powerful motor in the future. Getting a little close to the ground there. Of course, we're running with full span ailerons too, so let's turn those off for the time being, show you guys how different it is as a performant flyer. The roll rate is significantly slower, which some people may like. I personally don't. It is slightly more controllable with full span turned off, but it also gets me into stickier situations here, and I prefer the roll authority that I get from having full span. And with full span ailerons, you do have the option to do other maneuvers that require it. Let's try an inverted Harrier if we can get it.
2 minutes.
I got a hover out of it, look at that. Didn't want to get a hover out of it, but I got a hover out of it. Whoa, baby. I don't know if that was a downdraft or what, but it got caught by something and it felt weird, so I pulled out of it. The verdict on this plane still remains unchanged. It's still a very solid performer, as you can see. It's just a little on the underpowered side for what I want to do, which is 3D style stuff.
Snap flaps. Elevator flaps.
Even putting the flaps up to try to make a stable Harrier doesn't really do much. It gets very wing rocky.
Wing normal.
So you can't really get true Harriers out of this plane. You can try to hold an angle of attack to get it there, but it's very tough to do it. It's not a plane that you should get if you're looking to do 3D stuff, or it's a limited 3D plane. It can kind of hover, but it does excel at rolls and other maneuvers that require rolls. And it does some of the best snaps that I think I've ever seen, or not snaps, tumbles that I've ever seen a plane do. End over end,
3D.
but you got to be in the high rates, like 100% rates, rather than the 150 that I normally fly with, because if you try that same thing coming out of a knife edge pass like this, it's not as scale looking and it snaps way faster, although it's debatable as to whether or not that's better. But you can get this thing to basically stop on a dime in the air, which is pretty cool.
4 minutes.
It does amazing knife edges where you have to pull the elevator back at you, which I kind of prefer. It does blenders and other things of that nature, if I recall correctly. It's definitely, it's no speed demon. It's not designed to be. It's not a 3D machine. It's just a sport flyer with limited 3D capabilities, and it's not trying to be anything else. And that's okay. Not everything has to be the craziest thing out there. Sometimes you can just go upside down and enjoy that it does it well. Put it into a quick inverted flat spin. There we go. Keep it in it. There we go. It's not always easy to get them to stay in it once they try to start to come out. Also, it creaks too. When it flies, you can hear the foam creaking. It's kind of annoying depending on your tolerance for that kind of thing. All really depends on what you want in a model.
Battery 14.7 volts.
It does pretty well in these 2200 packs. I mean, if you're not abusive to it at all like I am, like you can get it to be up in the air for a very long time. Although with full rudder, it does have a tendency to yaw a couple. So you gotta watch out for that.
6 minutes. Battery 13.8 volts.
But again, the tumbles and snaps this thing does are just out of this world good. Let's get another one set up. Get her lined up, get a nice high speed pass coming in here. Not a whole lot of models do it that well, and that's crazy. Let's go ahead and get her in. It's almost whisper quiet in the air too. It's quieter than it really should be. But without flaps, you're gonna struggle to get this thing down. It's very aerodynamic and it will just kind of float forever. With flaps though, it is kind of wonky. Crappiest landing by far. It just wants to keep tracking towards stuff. If I messed up the paint at all, which I probably did, I can just hit it with some blue electrical tape and fix it. It's really not a big deal, and honestly, I wouldn't mind doing a better paint job than this. The stock paint job to me is a little goofy to have a blue paint model. How's the wing look?
A little scratched.
A little scratched? Whatever, it gives it some character, right? Hey guys, really appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed this thing. We haven't flown it in a while. Next thing we need to do before we fly it again is find a motor that's going to upgrade the thrust in this thing so we can really do some crazy stuff with it. See you guys again out there.